I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin, and welcome to Live to Be Well. Help Dr. Kim. Why am I doing these segments? These segments are real stories, real truth. We're looking at people's lives. I can't bring them on camera due to confidentiality. I have to protect them. But I want you to hear their voice and their real truth and their real stories. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on Live to Be Well. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you listen, there are no words. I want them to know your story and why it's so important. Let's start off with why you came to counseling.
When I initially came, I was in the midst of a potential divorce. My husband at the time and he had pretty much walked out, and I was lost. I was angry, was the true emotion that I was feeling. And I didn't want to get lost or going back into habits that I had prior to that marriage.
And that's really important when you come into counseling. One of the things we want to help change is patterns of negative behavior. Some patterns are good to hold on to empower you, to enrich you, to direct you. Tell me how, did you feel as you were going through the counseling process, and how did it help you?
I can honestly say the anger it was in the forefront because I felt like I had placed myself aside for this individual. I had totally neglected what I needed and what I felt I wanted because I felt sorry for this individual. Good guy overall naturally, but he had some issues that came to light during the marriage that were not pleasant for me at all.
How long were you married?
3.5 years, almost 4 years.
4 years. And how long did you know your husband prior to marrying him?
I met him in August and we married in February.
Now, you stated to me in counseling that he was already married when you met him, and you were involved in a relationship with this man, having sexual relationship. Let me ask you, now looking back over your counseling, your experiences with this relationship, is celibacy something you're practicing now?
Most definitely.
Can you tell us why?
Peace. When you're dealing with others, you're welcoming their souls, their spirits, others around you. And it means so much to me just to have a peace of mind, a peace of heart, and not to feel like I have to chase anyone, which is unfortunately when you're out interacting with people that way, it's kind of a cat and chase, game.
And our society says today, it's okay to have sex outside of marriage. It's okay to be unfaithful. It's okay to, do the kind of things that's going to bring negativity in your life. But Dr. Kim is here to say it's not okay. It's not okay with God. It's not okay with Dr. Kim, and it shouldn't be okay with you. You don't have to settle. You shared a letter with me from your mother that was written February 7th, 1982. You were almost 12 years old at that time. Can you share the information that's in this letter and how it impacted you?
Right. Well, I was born in 71, so I would have been 10 going on 11, really. And it impacted me because it placed me in a position of protection at that early age. My mother and father, they had a daughter, which is my youngest sister, and he was off in the military back and forth. She worked. However, they both had habits of being, I guess you can say, selfish. And in that letter at that time, what she was basically letting me know that she was going to leave my life in some form or fashion, and that it was up to me to decide how I allowed that to guide me as an adult. And also in that letter, she asked me to look after my little sister, which left me to believe that either she was going to harm herself or she was going to leave us in some form or fashion with other people. But the gist of her letter was to make sure that my little sister was okay.
During this time, something else was happening in your life. What was going on?
When we moved from Detroit to Louisiana in 1979, my father's oldest children, sons from Alabama, moved in with us. And one son, he had started raping me at some point. It wasn't originally penetration, but as we say in the world of molestation, and he groomed me for a while. He was caught, nothing happened. But unfortunately, that seems to be the times, especially down south, only for me to realize it happens everywhere, that your secrets stay within your family.
Secrets are very destructive, and it goes from generation to generation. when I was counseling you at the time, when I first met you, you were angry. You were angry, you were hurting, you were bitter, and you wanted to make sure you were making the right decision. Was coming to counseling difficult for you to make that decision to even initiate counseling?
No, but because of my past, I knew it was either counseling or probably jail. Because I was so upset with this individual that I had stood by his side. I had pretty much financially taken care of him. Yes, he worked. However, bank statements and deposits and transaction proved that he was not only running through my money, he had opened up another bank account using my money. And unfortunately, I was allowing him to be the man, as they would say. The man wants to dominate the relationship. The man wants to be in control of finances. I allowed him to do that, never knowing that he all the time was siphoning from me. So when the demise of the relationship came, his mother had passed and he received technically an inheritance. And at that point is when he decided to leave, once he knew what he was getting. And I even have that paperwork. And it's not that I have a point to prove.
Right.
It's just, you can't make this up. People think, no, it couldn't have happened that way. It had to be something else. Now, the reality of it is, something that you brought to my attention, is that I had contemplating divorcing this man for 2 years. We hadn't been married long when all of his indiscretions and physical and personal issues had come to light. I had almost died in 2012, and then my mother died in 2013. And the spiritual aspect of me has always told me you don't make major decisions when you're going through something like that. Right. So I stayed. However, I never discarded the divorce papers. I left them literally on the dresser. And it was you that pointed out the torture that he must have gone through every week when he would come home off of the road. Well, she didn't file him this time. That was no different than putting a gun to his head and playing Russian roulette. And that was a part of it that I had to accept. Is that maybe he would not have walked the way that he did in spite of all of the things that had happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you listening? Are you listening how we are unwrapping, tearing apart the layers of this story? Here's a woman that was molested by her own half-brother. A woman whose mother left an infant child in her care at the age of 11. A woman who is a fixer, enabler, who went through anger, hurt, and pain. But somehow God has brought her through it. And now she's living a life where it's full for her and being celibate and not ashamed to say it. So how are you living now?
Peacefully. And with that, I still help people.
Okay.
But I had to learn that helping those who can't do anything for me, I apologize, is where I get my greatest joy. If I'm doing something for someone that I'm dating, it's because I expect something in return. I expect for them to treat me well. I expect for them to be nice. I expect for them to want me the way that I want them. And unfortunately, in this world that we're living in, I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's just not a focal point for me right now. Building my nonprofit, building my for-profit that I just started with my food trailer, that's where my focus is. Having sex used to take me around the United States. I would, so like now, I will not be disturbed. I will not lose my focus.
And how does God play a role in your life now?
It's every day. I know I could not have been here without him. I know to have not only been raped by that one individual, but to have been molested by others, to know family members have been in the same situation, to have to still be concerned about my sons. I have a granddaughter now. So I have to most definitely keep myself focused so that I can be there, only in a certain realm though. They're not my focal point. My life right now is about me and my peace.
And your peace. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being with us on Live to Be Well to help Dr. Kim. And I thank you for allowing me to be your therapist, allowing me to see you grow, allowing God to bring our lives together. Listen, counseling is nothing you should be ashamed of. Be able to reach out for help, get support. And listen, let me say this. You have to hold yourself accountable. Don't co-sign anyone's bad behavior. Get my new book, www.drkiminspires.com. Don't co-sign bad behavior. And don't enable yourself. Don't try to fix everybody's life. You can't do it. That's God's job. But be a support. Be realistic with your goals and where you are with your life. Listen, I'm Dr. Kim. God bless, and I'll see you next time on Live to Be Well.